Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to call the budget hearing together. This meeting is called to order December 11th, 2025. Madam Clerk, pledge, please.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Councilman Asbill.
Present.
Councilman Buddy.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain.
Present.
Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Ricks is absent. Mayor Baudier.
Present.
Police Chief LaPree.
Present.
Fire Chief St. Cyr absent. Finance Director Todd Turnion.
Present.
City Attorney Scott Stansberry. Myself, Carrie Hughes, as clerk, is present. We're going to do ordinances for approval. So we have proposed ordinance number 2025-19. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman, who would like that one?
Second.
Chatelain. An ordinance of the City of Harahan revoking the public dedication of a portion of Bailey Street pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 48701.
Roll for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2025-19? Please come to the podium. No one coming forward. We'll close public hearing. Council discussion.
Council, before we get too far into discussion, I'd like to just make a few comments. I put in front of you a red line version of the amendments that I'd like to make this evening. And you should have received an email from the outside counsel that the city retained, Jacob Best from Blue Williams, regarding the issues and the property and what he thinks can be done. This falls in line with what he believes can be done. And that's what I'm proposing we do tonight. Additionally, you should also have a revised survey from R.W. Krebs in front of you dated December 9th, which shows the proposed new back property line of Lot P1 for 439 West. Happy to discuss.
I saw the email from council. I was reconciled to selling the full parcel for $8,400, although I firmly believe the value of that original parcel is $51,000. Per the appraiser, before you discount it,
Excuse me one second.
the issues,
Mr. Buddy, excuse me, did I jump ahead? Am I on the wrong ordinance? I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong ordinance.
I'm sorry.
We've got to do the revocation first.
Okay, the revocation.
The revocations first. I'm sorry, I jumped
All right,
ahead.
we'll come back to this.
Yeah.
Because
I've got no discussion on the revocation.
There'll be none on that.
Okay.
Move for a vote.
All in favor?
Yay.
Wait,
Oh.
well, I do have a question.
Okay.
Do we own the property?
Do we own the property?
There was a question at whether, who owned it, the city or the parish? And there was a discussion that the parish was going to donate it to the city. Do we own it?
I don't think that was ever the discussion. I think the discussion was making sure the parish reserved its drainage servitude.
Okay, so.
City's
so
always
the
owned it.
city,
Yes,
the city owns it, great, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay. All in favor of the revocation?
Yeah.
Yay.
yay.
Four yeas, one absence. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2025-20. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman, who would like that one?
I'll second.
Chatelain. An ordinance of the City of Harahan authorizing the sale of certain immovable property formerly compromising an unimproved portion of Bailey Street pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 334712 and providing for related matters, that's 439 West Avenue adjacency.
Okay, anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2025-20? Please come to the podium. No one coming forward. We'll now close public
Oh.
hearing. Oh, sorry.
Mary Oakland Avenue. Does the Sioniac Canal run under that part or not,
Oh, West?
on Bailey?
It's not the Soniac Canal, it's
it's-
I don't know what
drainage?
canal,
It's a
it
drainage
is a
ditch.
drainage canal, but it's,
Ditch,
It's a ditch.
it's
not-
beyond the property. It's a servitude that's still gonna be in the back.
okay.
That's what the parish has requested to not be built on. like the people on Elaine.
A light that can't be built.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the property, this is the current property line, this is the proposed new property line, and the drainage servitude is way back here.
Okay, that's better. Act
Yeah.
like-
It's
like
still
a-
35
Lane,
plus
yeah.
feet from the house, and it's still gonna keep a 15-foot servitude
Yeah.
in the rear of
Okay,
the property.
Just asking because I knew it had to be somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
All
not the Sony, but it is a major drainage
Yeah.
canal, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Could be the crochet ditch.
Crochet
It might be,
ditch,
I
that's
think
what I
so,
think it
yeah.
is.
You know some stuff.
All right, if no
Okay, we'll
further,
now close public hearing, if there's no more discussion, council discussion.
same comments. Ditto.
So back to my analysis. The appraiser, in his appraisal, valued the square footage, what would have been $20 a square foot, or $51,000 and some change, for the full parcel we were discussing last week. His subtractions or reductions were based upon the fact there's no access, and there's limited market. So he reduced that down to 8,400, about 15% of the, what it would have been appraised had it been a lot. The city is curing all the issues. I don't know, the appraiser focused on that. He didn't mention the fact that the city, by virtue of selling it to adjoining property, an appraisal on this property post-sale would value the transferred property at $20 a square foot. So it will accrue that much value to the owner, the ultimate owner. They go to get it appraised, their house is going to appraise for $50,000 more, just by nature of having that 2,500 square feet more, if we were going with the original deal. Now, based upon all the other circumstances, I was going to call the appraiser, by the way, and talk to him about this and see if he considered that fact. I didn't do it after the last meeting because I was consigned to the fact that this has been a mess, and if we sold it for $8,400, and considering the fact that the city's put some $6,000 or so of cost into it, now we've got an attorney's opinion and another survey. So the city's probably got $10,000, $15,000 in this right now. Property we're talking about selling previous for $8,400. Now we're talking about selling it for 20-something hundred.
A portion of it, yeah.
Yeah. I think the appraisal was wrong. I was going to discuss him and point it out to him, the assumptions that he didn't make and that he did make. And I'm aghast that we're spending more money. We're going to be giving this piece of property away, and it's going to cost us $8,400 net, or $8,000. We take our costs, less the recovered amount of $2,800. So the city's going to have about $8,000 or so out of pocket. I'm not sure what these last two things cost us. So it's gone from, in my opinion, a really squirrely situation to a more squirrely situation. This is not our property, it's the city's property. And I believe that this value, whatever the square footage is here, it's less than 2,500 square feet.
The new square footage?
I believe this property will be
15.
worth $20 a square foot on a homeowner appraisal. So at a 15%, 85% reduction, $8,400, the homeowner is going to receive a huge increase in value at a very small cost. Now, how that works out between the current developer and the current person that's got it under contract, I don't know. But I know how an appraisal will appraise the square footage. So it's a windfall. And we're going to make the windfall even more onerous to the city, or sell it at an even bigger discount net, because we've gone ahead and spent more money. and we're gonna net now $20-something hundred. This is all very disturbing. This is the city's money, it's the city's property, and I don't think the city's getting value, number one, and the deal keeps getting worse. From netting $8,400 and walking away from a potential $51,000 to now we're gonna get $20-something hundred. I'm just, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop speaking because I'm gonna repeat myself, and there's no reason to do that. I think everybody knows how I feel.
May I say something?
Yep.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. First place, these people are in a dilemma. They were given bad information by the city. If they wouldn't have been given the bad information by the city, they wouldn't have extended their house 10 feet onto the property. So they wouldn't extend their property because they thought they could do it. They would have used the property like all the other property owners have been used for the last 100 years. Those houses were built back there 50, 60, 70 years ago. These people are using that property, that city property. They've been using it. They built sheds on it. They use it as their own property. It's like squatters' rights. We got property in the city that people have taken over on Hickory. They built garages on it, and it's city property. But these people have taken over that property. That's 240 feet. Now, these people wouldn't have built that house extension, but they thought they could because the city told them. I'm not going to say who told them. They were told they could build on the street. He would handle it, and it would be taken care of. They wouldn't have extended it. Now, they're in the dilemma. They did what they thought they could do legally. Now, if we can legally sell them the property for $2,800, the city, we're going to lose money, but it's because our fault,
Now-
because we made the mistake of giving them bad information.
Excuse me,
We
Mr.
can't
Paul.
make the property, I'm talking, we can't make the property owners suffer because they extended the property 10 feet. And now, if we can legally do it, I'm all in favor of selling to them for $2,800. It's not fair to these people who invested money into this property. And if they make money on it, God bless them, because it's our fault that we screwed up. And I'm all in favor of giving, if we can do it legally, and I was told we can, to give them the property for the $2,800.
So what I'm understanding is we could sell a property for the 2,800 legally, or we could pay them $70,000 to tear the addition off the back of the house and get it back to where it needs to be because the
I'm
city.
not gonna conclude that we're gonna pay anybody $70,000. And I don't need to be in a position where we're discussing potential litigation in public. That should be an executive session. So if we wanna have that conversation, I'm happy to go into executive session. Not to argue your point, the validity of your point.
Right, I'm gonna support voting to sell a property for $2,800.
Yep. Well, I think it's headed that way. But, so I've had my say, thank you.
Just call for the vote, we don't need to beat this thing down.
Mr. Johnson, call for the vote.
All right, call for the vote. All in favor?
Yay.
Nay.
3 yeas, 1 nay. Madam Clerk?
Do you have to amend, or we're voting on this amendment?
We voted on the amendment.
There were some other questions before we move forward. I know we've had the vote. There were some other comments I had on whether this fell in compliance with state statute. You give me a moment, I'll find them. I think I can find them quickly, and Jason, you can conclude if you think it
Yeah,
does, because
before-
I know you want it done right.
Well, before we call for the vote as amended, let's talk about those.
Yeah. Let me find my notes here. So I had a comment that I jotted down, Jason, and it refers back to a copy of the state statute, which I believe Scott sent me. And the state statute said we had to introduce it with the final changes, which I guess if we do this, I think we're in a final document. And this is what would have to be advertised for 3 weeks in a row, 15 days.
No, sir.
Okay, I'm finding the section that says that. It's section B of 4212. And
4712?
4712, yes, sir. It says, except as otherwise provided in the section, before disposition can be made of property under the provisions of this subpart, an ordinance must be introduced, giving the reasons for the action on the part of the governing authority and fixing the minimum price, which I think your amendment would do, and terms of the sale, lease or exchange, or other contract to be made with reference to the property. And then in that same paragraph, in the fifth sentence from the bottom, the sentence begins, thereafter, notice of the proposed ordinance must be published 3 times in 15 days, 1 week apart, in a newspaper published in the municipality, or if there is no such newspaper, in a newspaper having a general circulation, and if there is no newspaper of general circulation, then we posted it in a conspicuous place.
I don't think, my reading of it, first of all, my reading of it doesn't say that every time we amend it, we then have to republish it.
Well, the first sentence says it has to be complete.
Well, it is complete, but you can
No.
amend an ordinance.
But it hasn't been out there for 15 days in its complete form. So a person.
And that's why it sits over another 10 after the final.
Okay, yeah, you've considered it, and that's your opinion.
Yeah, and also, I don't think that the last sentence is controlling on the first sentence. I think the last sentence is controlling on the immediately preceding sentence, which deals with exchanges and larger price property and higher price property.
Okay,
And the intent after this, and just so you can understand the process, what I think going forward is if we pass this tonight, it'll hold over for 10 days. You'll see if anybody challenges it at the 24th. After 10 days, the mayor can then execute the sale and collect the check.
yeah, I agree with the 10-day holdover. All right, well, we disagree with the interpretation, and I'm also going to note that we're relying on an interpretation of the statute and ignoring the Attorney General opinion as not being binding. I think, Jason, you explained to me that it's not law, it's recommended. So we're ignoring some of the steps in the Attorney General's opinion and focusing on the state statute. And that is what it is. So, all right, that was just my comments. Thank you.
Move to approve as amended.
All in favor to approve? You went through the amendments?
Well, we voted on the amendments as redlined. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the amendments were that, as a whereas paragraph, the city has decided to sell only a portion of the appraised property to the owner, to the adjacent owner of 439 West Avenue. In line 45, it changes the price from 8,400 to 2,800. In line 64, it changes the square footage from 2,552 to 1,554. In line 66, it corrects the date of the survey as December 9th, 2025. Another price change from 8,400 to 2,800 in line 69. And also that the mayor can administratively resub in conjunction with the new survey. Those were the amendments that were passed.
Do we have to, you want to add something there about rezoning it? While you're doing it?
It's already residential.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it's,
I
yeah,
didn't think it had a zoning.
so it takes on the zoning of the adjacent
Thank you.
properties, yep,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the new survey of December 9th, yeah. And so now I move to approve as amended.
Sounds good. Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatterling to move as amended. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Nay.
3 yeas, 1 nay, Madam Clerk, 1 absent.
Thank you. Glad that's over.
Okay, we have one thing for new business. New business number 1, the VFW requests permission to sell beer and wine at the seniors banquet. That will be held on Friday, December 12th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. All proceeds will benefit the VFW.
Anyone want to speak on new business number 1? Public hearing is now open. Anyone coming forth? Public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
I don't have a problem.
All in, then we can take the vote. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Yay.
4 yeas.
Chief, you're okay with it? So you're okay with it? I'm in favor. That's,
4 yeas, 1 absent. Madam Clerk, please enter the record.
Okay, we will now open the budget hearing. This will be All departments, administration, civil service, court, fire, maintenance, police, recreation, regulatory, sanitation, senior center, and streetlights.
Council, I would propose that we take the police department first. It's obviously the most glaring, and they're here ready to present, so we'll take it.
And I'll counter propose that we address first the amendment to the 2025
Yes,
budget.
yeah, so, yeah, I would
Because that's the
agree.
easy one, I think.
Well, I think the budget hearing is just for the 26 budget.
I'm
We're
sorry.
not,
what
we're
was
not
it?
voting on anything tonight. The budget hearing is really for the 26
But I
budget.
mean, I think we can get that 2025 amendment discussion out the way in really short order.
Okay, let's do that.
And the proposed 2026 budget is going to take a lot more discussion, I believe.
Sure, yep, let's do that. So, Mr. Chief, if you don't mind discussing your 25 budget, please?
Have we opened it up for public discussion?
I don't think we do, because we're not voting on it
Okay.
yet.
Okay. Well, appreciate it. I've met with all the council folks in my office to go over the budget, the numbers. You all know where it's at. You know, if we want to have a safe police department, a safe city, you got to fund it. You can't get Cadillac service on a Prius salary. But the budget is what we have from last year. We're barely scraping by to make the department work. We're making it work, but the numbers are what they are. I mean, we've gone through, I've talked to Todd. I told line 232 was donation for Night Out Against Crime that we had received in donations, $2,050 on that. That money has been spent, so I told Todd, don't carry that over to, as our income, as potential income for the 26 budget, because we don't know if we're going to receive any donations again next year. But we've purchased some light towers and equipment that is needed for the department with that. The restitution line, 239, that needs to be removed from. That was a individual that had been arrested, caused damage to a piece of equipment. The court ordered him to pay restitution. That restitution's been totally satisfied now, so that money, that 500 should not be there. That's gonna have to, because there's no restitution coming in for that moving forward. The millage is what it is. We've got to get that renewed next year on that 5 mil for the police department. That's a lifesaver right now, from what I understand, for the city to pay that. Claim settlement, we still have a line 258. We still have a pending lawsuit from the prior administration.
Chief, may I ask a question? Since you're going line to line, can I ask a question?
Sure.
It's been noted that in 25, you got 664,000 from the millage. Is that expected to be the same this year? Because you budget 550,
I'll
51.
refer that to Todd. Todd and I had that conversation, and I noticed it. That's a $104,000 difference.
Is that,
Yeah, so that's a function of the police millage fund had about $120,000 fund balance at the beginning of 2025. And so we used that fund balance in the 2025 year, so that at the end of '25, carrying into 2026, there's virtually zero fund balance in that millage fund.
so you don't expect to be 664 in the millage? It was a rollover.
It was a rollover, and the millage amount is about 520.
So normally 5 mils brings in about $110,000 per mil. So you're looking at 550. Okay.
It's about
All right.
530.
So it's a
somewhere in
rollover.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Basically, if I'm correct, what you're budgeting in column O, that 541,000, that is the expected budgeted tax from the millage, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Correct. Thank you.
guess
I'm sorry, Chief, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right.
So if we go line by line, I want to ask
Yeah.
a question.
well, and you'll notice all the line items have gone up, and I'll be happy to address any of those
Can we,
requests. Uh-huh.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I was going through the claim settlement of 100,000, and I've spoke to Mr. Buddy and a couple, and for every lawsuit that we end up occurring, it's a $100,000 deductible. We inherited a lawsuit from my predecessor. That case is still going on. I was notified that it's going to exceed $100,000 on the lawsuit. And we still have, I think, $47,000 left to pay before we reach the $100,000 that the insurance will pick it up from that point. So we need to make sure there was nothing budgeted nearly enough. So the reason why that's 100,000 is because if we have another suit, we have to be able to make sure we can cover that suit.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think if we can stick to 25 projected, which is column H, I think that's the way Mr. Buddy wanted to take this, is talk about 25, and so, in 2025. So my question, I guess, on claim settlements in 2025, is there anything pending? I guess, Todd, my question is, how did we come to this 22,000 number? Is there something pending that we expect to pay out this year, or that has already been paid out?
So there's 18,000 already paid out year-to-date, and we just estimated 3,600.
Gotcha. So maybe that's just ongoing attorney fees for this
Well,
case?
no, the
that's-
attorney fees are
Bill, the
line
attorney fees are-
265 for a legal lawsuit. And I gotta
What-
appreciate.
Sorry, Ed, what line?
That legal fee is 265, and I appreciate the attorney, Debbie Villio, that's working with us on that. She's trying to keep those fees down, but
Okay, so,
we've paid her quite a bit. Now, that legal fee is also coming out of that 100,000.
Right,
Right.
that's what we,
Yeah.
that's.
so
where he
the
was-
$18,000 is other settlements that we've made throughout
Well,
this
that's the
year?
only one that I have right now that I know of. Because the other case that's still pending, that we've reached that goal, we have.
I guess I just don't know where that
18,000
18,000 is coming from, that's all.
It's from actual claim settlements or payments on existing claims, not settlements, payments on existing claims. I don't know the exact claim number or the
Okay.
incident or incidents, but I can get that
Gotcha.
information.
So it's not necessarily new claims, it could have been car
Could
crashes
have been
from a
a
year ago.
crash from 3 years ago,
Okay.
4 years ago.
Understood.
Correct. Yep.
So just for general clarity, having nothing to do with specific line item, and I've never seen our insurance policies, but normally when you get a $100,000 deductible, that covers legal fees first, and then any amount to any claim,
Up to-
award, or settlement.
A body.
That first 100 grand is out of our pocket, up to 100. A claim could cost 5,000, or it could cost
Right.
500,000. So does everybody have the same understanding? Mayor, is that your general understanding? Thank you.
If it's under 100,000, we're self-insured.
Correct.
But it's each incident.
Each
Per
incident.
incident,
Each
yeah,
incident, yeah.
yeah. Line 275 is police supplies, and I'm hitting the numbers that are the biggest jumps. Police supplies, what we've added in there, the reason why that jumped, we have a contract, 3 years left on our flock cameras. It's $12,500 a year. The Council District 2, Councilman Dino Banana's been assisting, covering that cost for the last few years. But if something happens and he doesn't cover that cost, we have to make sure we're allocating funds to pay for those cameras. If not, we'd have to turn them off. And then
Is that the best coding for that, is police supplies? Todd?
We can look at that.
Yeah,
That's where he put it.
Yeah.
So-
gotcha.
We're open
So,
to any-
so we're not
any
paying
feedback.
that for 25?
No.
Okay.
That has been already reimbursed back to us.
Gotcha.
But moving forward, if something happens and we don't get reimbursed for it, we have to budget for it.
We hope, we think he's gonna pay it.
But also in that cost there is the Axon body cams of $33,000 a year. We have 3 years left on that contract also. There was no money budgeted for the Axon body cams that I put in last year, and we never got to it. But I was fortunate enough to call Councilman Banana, and they covered that $33,000 for this year. But moving forward, on the next 3 years, we gotta make sure we have funding for that. If not, we'll have to turn them off. And that's why that number jumped to where it did, because there's no money in the budget.
Which line is that, Chief?
That was line 275 and 276. Well, 276 we're getting ready to talk about. Any questions on 275? Why that number jumped? It's, we're requesting, actually,
it
we're
jumps?
actually requesting 65.
I was only looking at 2025, so I didn't
Okay.
look at the jump. What is it, 275?
Line 275, it's actually, he has 50,269, and we had a conversation with Todd the other day on the phone explaining just what I just said, and that number should be around 65,172 to cover those costs. Hopefully, they'll continue to be covered, and that'll be a wash. We'll have that money left in there, but I can't rely that he's gonna pay it every year. He's, you know, things change. Everybody's tight on money, and if that happens, our options are to come up with the money or turn them off. And I'd hate to turn them off because it gives us transparency to the public to show the camera of actually what happened involving a scene. Then moving to line 276, computer supplies and expenses. Last year we were budgeted, the 21,262 in line H. But the computers that are in the police cars, the GTAC computers, they're over 8, 9 years old. They're very outdated. I recently went to the Chiefs Conference and spoke to the GTAC people to see about upgrading the computers, the software. It wouldn't benefit us just to update the software. We need to update the computers themselves that the officers use in the cars.
Yeah.
And that's why that number jumped to 50,269. We have 18 police cars that the units would need to have the computers in them and be upgraded.
18, sir?
18. Now,
And
with
I guess
this,
this is I'm gonna interrupt you, this is a bigger problem with the city, is like, there's no plan, right? So it's always, we gotta replace everything this year, because it's all going out, right? I would, at some point in the future, you know, when the fire department did their sales tax thing, we made them put together a capital improvement plan, and, you know, it's going faster than what we anticipated, which is a good thing. And in the same respect, you know, I think a department should have some type of long-term plan on when we're replacing things, because when we get to the next line item in 284 or whatever, and we start talking about police vehicles, it's great. Vehicle repairs are down right now, but that's because we all have all new vehicles,
We still
right?
need to budget the money.
We still need to start thinking about when are those repairs gonna come up down the road, so that we don't have a situation of we're jumping in one line item, $60,000.
well, that's why
all of a sudden.
that's why when I got elected, my first thing was start replacing these cars to try to, that's why I went out and hustled.
Oh, yeah, and I'm
Thank
not
God
picking
from
on
the
you.
state.
And I'm not picking on you.
You've done a
They
great
gave us
job. We're
discretionary
just
money.
thinking down the
Yeah.
road again.
Yeah, I'm not picking on you,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about across the city,
Yeah.
every department.
And we had this discussion before, remember we came in and we thought about doing a whole new lease plan.
Right,
And we decided not to do that because we didn't need all new cars today. Because then
Right.
we're dealing with the same thing in 5 years.
right.
So that's why we did what we did. We
Right.
took 5 cars, 4 cars, as we could get them and you
Right.
gradually stage them out, hopefully we get 2 cars next year.
Right.
If we're talking about line 284 for a moment, the question would be, why are we budgeting 65,000 in this proposed budget in 2026 on line 284, column O, and our actual projected through December 31, 2025 is 27,000?
I think that was a misunderstanding of the police in maybe adding a vehicle in there when it really should be in a capital fund. Is that?
Yeah, well, we took that out. We had in the capital, we had in police vehicles, line 285, we had 180,000 that would have bought 2 cars, dressed them out with the decals and the light bars. We still are having maintenance issues on some of the cars. We had a catalytic converter go out on one of the units the other day. So it's an older car, but we're still using those older cars. We're auctioning off, we're gonna auction off, I think, 8 of the old cars that we can't even get parts for them anymore. And if you find a part for it, you gotta pay premium because they don't make the part at the manufacturer, so you have to find it. But there is still maintenance on these vehicles, the older vehicles. The newer vehicles are all under warranty, which is good.
It just seems like a big jump, $30,000.
It is. It's all estimates, but
Yeah. Yeah,
And like I said, when we all met, the numbers are what we came up with, and what we get is, we have to deal
We
with
might
what
have
we
to cut
get.
that to 35 instead of 65.
yeah. Again, we're jumping around a little bit. We're talking 2025. I thought we could get that out the way global, but if the chief wants to go through it line by line, but we will have to discuss all of this for 26.
yes.
And stepping back for a minute, the big picture is such that the overall budget deficit for the city, police department, the city, is currently projected at close to $800,000 deficit. The police department is requesting an additional 700,000 plus of funding for its request. To get more to the point, I think that the police department in the next week is gonna take a lot of crunching of numbers, meeting the two with the police chief, Kathleen, and whoever else the chief would like to have present, Todd, and I'll be happy to sit in and another council meeting or 2 other councilmen if they choose to. But I think we got a lot of work to do on the police department's budget because we don't have the money. I'm going to discuss a proposal tonight that is going to be debatable, that would come up with some of that money, but not all of it. So if we don't come up with 300,000 or 400,000 minimum from other departments, but at the police department, we're not going to be able to fund what the chief has requested. So I think it's going to take some crunching of the numbers, or come to Jesus moment. I'm going to discuss something again tonight that would be highly debatable.
Yeah.
That could come up with some of that money, but not all of it. So I think, I mean, all of the numbers in the police department budget can have to be looked at. We haven't talked about wages yet.
Yeah.
Getting there.
That is,
I'd like to jump there, because I mean,
yeah,
that's
that's showing a
95%
real
right?
increase of 300,000 over 2025's actual projected.
Right, which is hard to reconcile if we're not spending all of what we budgeted for this year, why are we adding more? And I know it's hard to hire people, hard to keep people, but why do we need a budget if we're not hiring and keeping people, I guess? And I know you want a police force, 5 to a shift, 4 detectives, a couple of lieutenants, an assistant, and all this, but if we can't hire them, then why budget for it?
Yeah. Well, so that is a big number that, needs to be discussed in greater detail than I think we can do tonight here. And there's a few other ones. not to jump ahead, but I think, you know, if we just, Chief, if you continue, because you have the opportunity to discuss each
Oh, yeah.
line item and tell us why you believe it needs to be increased, and we need to hear that. But we're gonna definitely have to we're gonna have to decide in global what the city can fund. We're gonna have a general discussion, not voting on anything tonight, but discussing what we think the city's budget can be. Is there any other money that we might be able to come up with or redirect? And then we're gonna have the ball of wax, and we're gonna have to decide what we can allocate to the police department and the other general government. I think the fire department is gonna basically probably not have any changes to their projected budget.
That's nice.
Well, they're self-funded, you
Yeah.
know, they're in a very enviable position. But, so, I mean, let's continue, Chief, because we all certainly want to hear what y'all have to say line by line. I know I heard some of it when we went through this when I met with you,
Right.
but please continue.
Okay. Well, I guess line 286, the gas line, we did get the gas bill last month, and I just signed off on it. It did go down, so hopefully gas is going to keep coming down. Hopefully they do the right things and lower those gas prices, keep them down. The line 293 was the capital outlay. I guess that's where the request for vehicles would go. Talking about salaries, that salary that jumped was to be able to hire 2 more officers with their matches to come down. Down the line there, it's all been broken out. I believe Todd broke all that out into each line item
How many,
to show what the increase would be.
how many vacancies do we have now according to what was budgeted in 2025?
Probably 4 or 5. 4, probably for sure.
So you have room to hire 4 or 5 people in line with this year's budget. If you wanted to hire 6 or 7, then you would need an extra 300.
No.
Well, we have,
Because we don't have the money to pay.
Right. We've lost the
Guys.
lieutenant, we've lost,
We budgeted, we budgeted 1.4 million for this year's salaries line item. Your anticipated projected is 1.27 million. So you most certainly have enough room to hire 2 officers with $140,000 that's unused. Am I reading that right?
I believe you would have, and I mean, you know, the fact is, the staffing hasn't been consistent through the
Consistent.
year, hired up, lose some
Well,
people.
if I could say something.
Yes, sir.
We have 2 people on tap that we could have hired about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, but we didn't do it because we wasn't sure of the numbers. So we didn't want to hire these people in the last quarter and then come into a deficit. Because I was under the understanding for the last couple of months, we're going to be projected 300,000 over at the last council meeting.
I think that was a fair assumption with the information you had. I think we're all working under the assumption that the information
I
going
don't-
forward is going to be more timely.
I don't think
And
so.
but-
I look at the budget versus actuals every month, and it's always underspent. So I don't understand what assumptions we're working on, but the budget versus actuals never show the same percentage as the percentage of the year that we're through, so. Go ahead, Todd.
I was just gonna add, maybe where the confusion is coming in that one line item for salaries, it has been consistently under budget all year. But there are other line items that are over budget
Right.
that offset that. So in total, I don't remember what the totals are within the police department in the draft from 2 months ago. But that may be causing some of that difference.
Because of the overtime that they're having to do instead of
Overtime
hiring
or the
regular time or
retirement.
whatever.
Maybe we were off on the budget amounts for the retirement.
Right, but that's all,
Yeah.
but that's all a product of just not being able to hire
Well,
people
we have to
or
look at
retain
the
people.
Overall budget, though. We can't just look at one line item.
Well, I understand
Now,
that,
let's
but the
say 3
whole
months
thing,
ago-
you have to pay overtime because you don't have enough officers.
But 3 months
So
ago,
it's
we
all a
had
product of not being able to hire or retain.
That's correct.
Right.
3 months ago, we had a discussion in reference to Empress. And at that meeting, we were talking about possibly almost 300,000 going over. So we had to pull back a little bit to make sure. And I think since then, Todd caught up.
The numbers are caught up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took a month or two to get caught up.
Just to 40,000 feet, because we're talking about one line item now. The police department budget projected for this current year ending, 2025, the expenses are $2,876,000.
That's the way to.
Below line, oh, that's on line 322. The budget total was budgeted, total expenses at $2,809,000. So we are budgeting that the police department, I'm sorry, we're projecting, latest and greatest projection, through the end of December, through the end of 2025, we're projecting that the police department is going to be some $67,000 over budget in total. So, yeah, I agree that when you don't look at one line item.
Right.
You got to look at, well, if I've got under here and I'm over here,
Right.
it all got to wash out.
Right,
That's
no,
right.
and
Yeah.
I
But
get
if
that.
we put a projected budget together and we're trying to figure a budget for, well, I guess we're talking about last year's budget.
Yeah.
But if we're trying to
We're
look
trying to
into the
project to
future of
next year.
26 budget,
Right.
we need to project where we're at,
Right.
because you have room for, in that.
Well,
On that
only,
line
only,
item, on
only,
that one
Councilman,
line.
if you can reduce the other costs that were over.
Right.
And some of them you can't reduce.
Agreed.
We're going to talk about them, they're not going away. The Emperor's increase is a big one, and totally out of our control, unfortunately, but it is.
And then if you look at line 297 was added, Todd added that line item there for part-time salaries. What I've looked at here, and I've talked to other chiefs around the state, everybody's having trouble finding and hiring policemen. With the new post requirements, you can't just hire somebody, they have to be post-certified. That takes 26 weeks for them to go through an academy. We're not getting a lot of people wanting to apply to go to a 26-week academy. There's a lot of officers they're hiring that are post-certified that are considered part-time officers. We have 10 reserves that work in our reserve division that are post-certified, that can come out and work. So if I am able to hire them as a part-time employee, I can use them when I'm needed, and then I have a little bit more control. Being a reserve, they come out, we tell them they gotta put in 24 hours a month. Well, if I have more control, that they're an employee, I can say, okay, I need you to work this night or that night. So we've added some funds into that, and by doing them part-time, I'm able to pay them a lesser rate of $25 an hour instead of paying them the $38, $40, because they don't have to pay all their matches. I only got to pay their social security and their workers' comp.
So we
So-
talked about this. And my point, I think it's a great idea if we can do it and it doesn't violate civil service rules and all the other good stuff. I guess my point is, wouldn't that then, it hasn't in the budget, but shouldn't that then necessarily decrease your overtime line item?
Or more than overtime, Todd, how do we account for overtime? Is it just the premium, or is it the base pay plus the premium in our overtime account? I'm assuming it's just the premium.
It's that pay code.
Most
Don't
accounting
know.
systems, it's just the premium.
I
It's
would
not the-
expect it's the base rate plus the premium.
You think it's the full,
That's what I would expect.
Overtime.
Yes.
okay.
Except
Then,
mine's the pension.
say
They don't
again?
add the pension to that. So
Right, that's another burden.
33%.
Yeah.
Right, so that's 34,
So,
33%.
so, trailing on with
Explain
Councilman
to me,
Esposito's
explain to me
saying,
what you're saying.
yeah, if we're hiring, if we're paying 76,000 here, then we should see the savings in
Right.
overtime
Yeah.
or straight time
Yeah.
somewhere. They're replacing officers,
Well, again, what Jason said, as long as we can do it with civil service. I can't not hire, I can't have full-time guys not have full-time,
no, I think it's a great plan.
Because I can't circumvent just hiring part-time people to circumvent civil service.
Right, I
You're
think,
still
That's
gonna
why I still have to be
you're
able to
gonna have
hire
your regular
full-time
employees
people.
with your civil service.
Right.
That are gonna work their straight time.
Right.
But before you pay them overtime rates, you'd be able to dip into your part-time
Part-time
employees
people,
first.
right.
But in the same respect, we can't give them $78,000 in overtime.
And not expect some reduction.
$68,000 in part-time time, because at the end of the day, he has 2.7 to spend however the heck he wants, right?
well, at the end of the day, just following up on what you said, sir, is that we ought to see some reduction in the budgeted overtime.
Right.
If this happens,
Right.
if you can do it, if it happens, we spend $78,000 on part-time, we ought to see a corresponding reduction in overtime and a corresponding reduction in the burden of civil service employees.
And when we.
And I don't know if that's built in here or
Yeah,
not.
well, when we all spoke, I told, it's not like we would be using them all the time. They would be fill-ins. So the 78,000, yeah, we talked about that it could, that number could probably come down. That was based on hiring a part-time guy, 5 days a week, at working a 6-hour shift to cover it. That's how we came up with that number. Is the number probably high? It might be.
No, Chief, your
But
estimate's
we-
good.
Yeah, but we can
But the
probably.
point is, if you are able to pull that plan off,
Right.
we're all kind of hearing
Right.
that that's gonna reduce overtime.
It should, yeah.
So you've got an overtime projection,
Mm-hmm.
significant amount of dollars. And if you're able to pull the $78,000 plan off, your overtime savings in salary alone will be more than
I
78,000.
understand that, but I don't have any data to show that that will happen.
And the
No,
other-
but my point is, if we leave the
Yeah, I understand what
78
you're
in,
saying.
because it's an if,
Right.
that will, if we spend that 78, we'll have at least $78,000 in savings in overtime.
You
Well,
should.
not necessarily, because I think what the discussion was, you might still, because your reserve guys that would come in and work part-time, they have full-time jobs.
Right.
So he might have to pay somebody to come in overtime to work 6 hours during the day because he can't get.
Oh, there'll
his-
be some overtime. I know it's not.
I'm saying, yeah, because he can't get his
Right.
Right.
part-time guy to come in until after 5
But we have
o'clock.
all of that scheduling estimated in our overtime
Correct.
projection. So anything spent on the 78 will at least dollar for
It'd be some
dollar
reduction.
reduce the, and we can't know for sure if it's ever gonna happen. But if we put the 78 in as a budgeted expense, then it makes sense that we assume, if you spend that 78, we're gonna spend 78,000 minimum less in overtime. And then you will have some other burden savings, but
Is there a way we can just reclass the overtime line item and combine it as overtime/part-time? And just say, look, the total on that line is 78, whether it's overtime or part-time?
so,
Most of the.
Or do we just keep it like it is and reduce one of them by however much?
Most of the
Right.
overtime's gonna come on the night shift, because during the day, we have the detectives here, we have myself, we have my assistant chief, Joe. So we have coverage. If somebody calls in sick during the day, it's not as big a deal as if something happens at night, when
But
we would
it-
need the officers.
am I reading this correct? On line 302, we're budgeting straight time overtime of 67,000. And we must have an overtime premium
301.
somewhere, if that's the straight time.
301.
301 is overtime pay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Straight time isn't used anymore.
Yeah, I don't have anything for that.
Straight time, overtime, 301 is only $2,600 for the premium?
67,000?
I'm not sure if, is this straight time overtime, built-in overtime, or is this?
Straight time overtime is 0.
Yeah.
You're paid,
I'm sorry, I'm
That
looking at,
account's no longer used, that's straight time over.
I'm looking at the 26 budget.
your line's crooked.
I'm looking at line 301, I'm sorry, yeah, 301. Overtime pay.
67.
Okay.
Grid lines fixed.
That's
on total.
the, if we're gonna assume that we're gonna spend 78,000, and you put the plan into effect, you can cross those hurdles, put it into effect, it would seem to reduce that.
You would think.
So
Sure.
I'm just thinking that we may have some positive adjustment to be made. That's one item that we can scrub and say,
Oh.
if you do one, you can do the other. The other thing would be to assume you're gonna go forward with your plan, don't put the 78 in there, leave the 67,000 overtime in, and you will just be improving on that number if you can put your plan in place. Because right now, you don't know if you can do it. You get clearance to do it, you can put it into effect. So I think it might be prudent to take the 78 out. Just go with it without the plan being approved, because the money for that's already budgeted. And that seems to be a good number. It was only 48,000, I'm sorry. It was 67,800 projected through the end of 2025. So I don't think we need them both, is the point the councilman's making, and I tend to agree with you. This is an item, again, we can discuss it in greater detail, and everybody's had a chance to think
Right.
about it.
I mean,
And
we're trying to get it, the numbers where we need them. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's an easy spot to shift.
What's
Yeah.
CVG overtime? 14,520.
That's the traffic,
police-
that's the.
That's a grant?
Safety grant.
That's a grant?
Click it or
It's the
ticket.
click it
So
or ticket, drive sober.
you got that, a grant, but you got that in the budget that, we not funding that, that's a grant?
So there's corresponding
It's a
revenue
pass.
coming in?
So we not funding that, but it's in the budget.
do we have a course,
CVG is crime.
I understand that, but we not funding that. Why is it in there? It's making your total go up.
Line item is still open, it should be closed.
It should be, it shouldn't, that number shouldn't be there, because that's making your number
or
go
we
up.
should be projecting an equal amount in
That number
revenue?
shouldn't be there, if
No.
it's a grant. So take that number out.
Well, wait a minute, so that's,
We have the highway
That-
safety grant is in here.
Is there a corresponding revenue for CVG?
Yes,
Okay.
there's an exact revenue,
Is there a match?
yes.
Oh, okay, it's a
Yes,
match.
it's dollar
No, no,
for
it's-
dollar.
it-
Okay.
Where is it?
Matt,
So-
it comes in as revenue, and
Okay.
this is the expense out.
Okay, it's a match. Okay.
So it's a
No,
wash?
it's not a match, there's no match.
It's a,
Yeah, it's a
It's a
dollar.
wash?
It's
Or
a
take it
wash.
out?
It's a
no,
total wash.
when we get the revenue, the city has to account for it. It has to be booked in our books.
Well, it shouldn't be in his numbers.
Of course
we
it
get-
needs to
if we
be in
get
its numbers.
reimbursed-
It's a revenue in and
If
an
we get
expense out.
reimbursed,
For a
that shouldn't be in the
That's
numbers.
even like state.
Well,
If they get
then-
$17,000
It's a pass-through.
and they reimburse the city, it's just blowing his numbers up.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's blowing his number up. If
It-
he's getting the money back,
He's got revenue in here, in his budget too. He gets the revenue, and he has to expend it.
revenue, and then it shows.
but
the
it's
expense.
blowing his number up at the bottom.
No.
But I
it-
I know he
it's-
gets it back, but he's still
It's in
blowing
his
the numbers up.
expenses and it's in
But
his
if we show the
revenue.
revenue coming in,
Well,
we gotta show it going
The
out.
question, Todd, is
Can't
is
give
that
the revenue
required
in
by
and zero out that.
It
generally
just blows his
accepted
numbers up, that's all.
government accounting?
Okay.
I would think it
That
is,
to me is the proper accounting.
yes.
Okay.
You gotta,
Well, I'm not a CPA.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it blows your number up.
well, it blows the
Okay.
expenses up, but it blows
It
the
does.
revenue up, so it's a wash bottom line.
Correct.
But that's the only way you can account for these concepts.
That's like the state pay, that's 120,000 in
Right.
here.
We get it back.
We never even touched that
We
money.
budget it, we budget
We
it, the
don't get
state.
that back.
well,
Yeah, we do. We
The
get-
state's paying us.
State pays.
State pays
And
the
then we-
city,
and
the
then we
city
pay it
writes.
out.
You gotta explain that, chief.
Yeah.
And we're saying we're giving you 3.5 million, the city can't afford it,
Right.
but 130 is coming back from the state.
That's right.
And we getting that $17,000 grants coming back
Back
to
from the
the
state,
city. So money you getting budgeted to you, it's making your budget blow up.
Mm-hmm.
We getting a couple 100,000 grants, money coming back to the city. So you really not, we not spending it, the city's not putting that up, we're
Right.
getting reimbursed by different departments. So that's gotta be explained, so we don't think we blowing the city, and the city's spending all that money.
I believe
You-
I've expressed that many a times that,
It's wrong.
you know,
I'm
but,
just saying, it's wrong. Because
The revenue's coming in from other agencies.
the revenue's coming in his budget.
Right.
It's
So-
coming in our county department.
So it's coming into.
But it's dedicated money, just like the police,
Correct.
just
So
like
it
the
has to
fire
come out of
department.
his expense.
The fire
But it-
department's money is
We
all
know-
budgeted.
We know the budget he's getting that, he's getting 330,000 from taxes, we know he's getting 550,000 out of the city, that's coming to the city.
And so
from
is
the
the
citizens.
120,000
I
of state
understand. Okay.
supplemental pay.
But
Councilman.
that's what I'm just saying, it's blowing it up, but we're getting
It is.
reimbursed by different
is.
agencies. Okay,
But
but that's what I'm just saying.
well, I
it's being-
appreciate
Being
that.
reimbursed.
Yeah.
Can we,
I understand what you're saying about revenue. and I
Yeah.
understand.
can we move down to police retirement match? On line 309. Looking at the original 25 budget, we budgeted 360. And Todd and I, we may have talked about this and I forgot, so you would have to remind me. But it looks like the projection's gonna be 80,000 more than what was budgeted. Is that due to an increase in the required retirement match, or is that due to some other factor?
It's not due to an increase in the match. Maybe the match changed 0.25 or 0.1
Not
something.
enough to reflect
Not
this.
enough to reflect this, no. It's probably the original budget number for 2025.
Well, we
Should
did
have
have an
been- should have
increase.
been a different number.
We had a significant increase, but I can't recall what year. But it was rather
I know.
recent, in a
Yeah.
rather recent past. They
So we just
increased the city's required contribution. The state did that.
And I guess the other thing I don't understand is retirement, overtime doesn't factor into retirement match. We're down officers,
Yeah.
so how are we paying more in retirement match? I guess
Yeah.
it's what I'm
We'd have
trying
to double check that, because actually, every June 30, they reevaluate the percentage, and it's gone down, maybe 0.5%.
The match?
Yeah.
percentage?
It's
I
gone
thought
down
it-
a hair.
Ah,
So
okay.
that would be great. What do you think, Tyler, about 34, somewhere up in there?
It's in the mid to low 30s.
It was closer to 36, so it's gone down a little bit. So I don't know where the 80,000.
Well, it actually reduced in '24, it was 412,379. In '25, it was down to 360, 367
No, I'm sorry.
on line.
That was our
That was through October.
budget.
Yeah, it's projected, Chief, on line, schedule column H, 444,
444,
444,000. So this is 456,000. That'll probably be reflected because we've projected a increase in wages. So that if the increase in wages stands, then the burden,
Well, the
Increases.
increase in those wages was only like $40,000, and then when the match, I think it came to like 80-something thousand.
it's $300,000 increase projected in this budget for '26 over what we're projecting we're actually going to spend in wages in 2025. Currently, as it stands, it's 300,000 over what we're projecting as actual. It's not 300,000 over last year's budget. Budget number was higher than the actual.
Correct.
I can look at that and work with City Hall staff, Sam,
But if we
see
paid,
if we can get an answer.
if we
for
paid
next week's-
$444,000 in 2025, I don't think 456,000 is worth spending a lot of time on.
Agreed.
And I may be reading it wrong. I'm looking at column H.
There's other lines
to.
we
I just
can
don't
do.
understand, I just don't understand
Why it's so much.
why it's so much. Because overtime doesn't factor into it. We're down guys, we can't hire, we haven't hired or retained guys, so how is it more?
So your question is more 2025?
Right, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, it's $30,000 more in 2024. I mean, the actual in 2024 was 412,000. We had to go back and see what wages were. Wages were, in 2024, were $1,355,000.
So they were 80,000.
We're projecting $1 million, yeah, correct. It was more than. So I know we had a rate increase. I mean, I recall at some period in my 7 years, we were in the 30 or 33% rate.
I think it was more than that.
I think we're at 30.
Well, I'm,
35, 36.
I know it was, and it's down now to in that 35, 36 rate. So there was a period of time when it had gone up from 30 to 33 significantly, enough to go, oh, wow, look what just happened. So, yeah, I think it takes a look. How is it actually entered into the accounting records? The
Like,
checks we
How
cut?
do they figure to go down or go up?
Well, I think more agencies are being required to pay into it now.
Okay.
I know that NOPD was one of the largest contributors to that pension fund. And when NOPD was down, a lot of people, they didn't have the revenue coming in. A lot of departments around the state weren't paying into that. And now they're required to pay into it.
that's
So they're
what's going on.
generating more income, more revenue from it. So, but we can,
Sounds like an interesting system.
they own a golf course.
It's
I'm
mandated.
so scared to be honest with you.
I mean, it's mandated by state law and actuaries.
Well, sure, but
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is we can't really expect it to be necessarily logical.
We're depending on New Orleans Police Department's numbers
To
fund the retirements.
affect our retirement fund.
Right.
Thank you very much.
But I'll be happy to sit down and talk, go over the numbers more, but the citizens of Harahan deserve a good, quality police department that's well-funded. And, you know, I know the budget's up to y'all gotta give the budget, but, the people of Harahan need to know where their money's at and how it's being spent, not only for the police department, but for the whole city, every department, where their money's at and what it's being used for, so. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate it, Todd. We've met multiple times and trying to make sure the department's funded, and it is what it is. We've got good policemen that are here, and if we want to keep them, we've got to fund them. But again, I've gone out, since I got elected, I've brought in a little over $2 million in state funding, grants, that if I wouldn't have got that, this department would still be driving around in cars that were 15, 16 years old. We wouldn't have the body cams. We wouldn't have the equipment we have. But the budget is what it is. And
Well, to be fair,
I think the
city-
people need to know that. I think the people need to come in and look at these budgets and see where all this money is, because I've been told the city was in a pretty good spot. Maybe
Well,
it's
Chief,
not.
we're budgeting our total revenue for the city.
I know,
We've got your budget and other departments budgeted,
I know.
and we're showing a, what is it, close to $800,000 projected deficit. And I welcome anyone to attend these meetings. I'd like to see this place full.
Right.
And if anybody wants to know, you can't ask for a more detailed budget than we have here, line by line. And there may be a mistake in here, but there's probably 1,000 lines. No, there's probably only 900 lines. A lot of detail here, is what I'm saying. That this is as transparent
Right.
as any government in the state of Louisiana. But I agree with you, the people ought to know where the money is. And you're right to state it.
Yeah,
I'll just reiterate, I agree with you.
yeah. So,
You know, I would say I agree. I would point out that this budget proposal does project an $846,000. I wouldn't want to alarm anybody that this council is going to pass that budget, because I don't intend to pass a
Right.
deficit budget to that extent. But I will also say that the $846,000 is due to increases in expenses, on large part, $750,000 of which would be credited to the police department,
Correct.
right?
I mean, you're right.
And that's why we spent so much time on this department and went ahead and did it first, because that is the biggest shortfall in what the deficit would be anticipated for next year. And I would also say that, you know, I appreciate the chief working to go get money at the state and do what he's done there, you know, but the city over the past 3 years has also spent close to $1 million in capital funds from its capital budget, right? So we appreciate that, but it's not like the council is not contributing to build up the police department and its equipment. We are, to the tune of $1 million over just the past 2 years.
I'll go ahead and say it. Chief, your job's to fight for the police department.
Oh, absolutely.
You come in here and ask for $600,000 more than what you had last year, that's your job. If you don't ask for that, you're not doing your job.
Wow.
Our job's to balance the budget for the whole department. I'm confident every council member that's here, including Councilman Ricks that's not here tonight, every one of us want to fund you with everything you need. And we're gonna do our best to budget and move stuff around and see where we can save, where we can't. And we're gonna get you the closest we can, and I'm confident you're gonna work with them numbers and move forward at that point. I don't think you're gonna neglect us or anyone else at that point. And just like you said, you went and got money, I'm gonna say, we went and got money. And we're gonna keep on going to get money, even if we can't fund this. I know you're gonna keep
Well,
doing your part, we're gonna keep doing our part, and we're gonna move this city forward. I'm confident we're gonna get close to where you need to be. I believe you're gonna be happy, and I believe we're gonna be able to work that out.
Well, appreciate it, but like I say, I know Tim's brought a lot of money into the city too. And I kind of piggybacked off of Tim when I saw what he was doing, went and did it myself. So-
No, but we gotta be quiet, because now everybody else is seeing,
Well,
they
I
trying to
know.
jump on it too.
Everybody's, I'm getting calls.
I mean, how about I say, how many phone calls you get? How'd you get that, chief?
I
How'd you
get
get that?
calls all the time from
I mean,
other
they calling Tim,
departments.
how'd you get that?
Yeah.
How'd you get that? Hey, we gotta slow down, guys.
So,
We wanna teach everybody, but we can't let it get away from us.
all right. All right. Well, I'll be
But it
happy
is
to
hard
meet-
work.
yeah.
It's hard work, and you gotta keep working at it.
I'd be happy to sit down and talk with y'all anytime, and we'll look at the numbers more. But I encourage the public to pay attention.
All right, thank you, guys.
Mayor, what is emergency department? What is that, $306,000?
That's the,
At the bottom.
Got 306,567.
that's the principal and interest
Emergency,
payment.
what is that?
That's the principal and interest payment on the hurricane recovery note.
Okay.
It's just where all the debt
I was
service
just wondering, I didn't know we had
payments
an
are
emergency
recorded.
department. That's a payment
It-
on
it's-
interest
That-
on the
that's
loan we
payment
made
of the
for what?
principal and the interest on the
On the 2 million
Hurricane
loan?
on the hurricane recovery
On
note.
the
What is the
loan for
balance
2
on
million
that
for
loan?
Ida?
Correct.
I would have to confirm.
that
I
the
believe it's
Ida
paid
loan?
off in
That's it. Yes, sir.
2031.
But how much is the principal back? Do you
We pay
recall?
250,000 a year, and I think it's paid off in 2031. So give me a few
So
minutes.
that's the Ida
So
loan
it's
that we
probably
made.
$1.5 million or $1.75 million.
Correct?
Hey,
Probably $1.5 million or $1.25 million.
that basically, a large portion of that is represented by the shortfall in FEMA monies, which we haven't reconciled as a city. We got $1 million projected we're gonna receive, and now we don't think we're gonna receive it. So it's another issue that the city's gotta confront. We can't print money. We got a hole there, it's gotta be filled at some point in time. Just like the deficit in the sewage department that we inherited. Well, now we've got $1 million hole there in a FEMA balance. So we have limited resources, we're gonna do the best we can, and everybody wants a good, strong police department. There's nobody in this city that would object to that. We're gonna do the best we can.
May we take a 5-minute recess?
Oh.
No?
No, I'm,
Oh, I thought
I
you
thought
said
we were
no.
finished. Whatever you need.
Oh, you thought we were finished? Well, we're finished.
We're not finished.
Let's
Oh,
continue
okay,
on.
let's take a 5-minute recess then.
No, but I hear what you're saying, it's a wash, and why do we do it? Because you
I'm
grow
gonna
things
move
up.
on to next year. And chief, before we go into something next, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege, and as a chief, I want him to remind everybody of the Christmas parade this weekend, because we love this thing.
No, I appreciate, yeah, the Christmas parade Saturday was supposed to be beautiful weather. It's gonna be like 74-ish. So, we encourage everybody to come out. We've got, right now, I think 48, 49, groups, participants that are gonna be in it. And, we're encouraging everybody to come out and have a good time. It's supposed, beautiful weather, come out and see Santa Claus. But,
Thank you, chief.
we want to have people slow down though, because the eastbound lanes will still be open. So we're going to have some signage out there. We're going to try to get it narrowed down to 1 lane for the eastbound traffic. So slow down because there's going to be a lot of folks out there. So come out and then enjoy the parade.
Chief, what time does it kick off?
The parade will start at noon at Horde and Jeff, and it'll disband at Folsom Jeff at the Winn-Dixie.
And do you have an estimate about what time the tail end will get over based on last year?
Last year, it was about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45
2:30,
minutes.
okay.
So,
It's like the Endymion of Christmas parade.
well, we're gonna try to keep the car groups doubled up to try to keep it moving. So, come out and enjoy it and come see Santa Claus. Merry Christmas.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, chief.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, council?
Yeah, so council, I'll just make the general comment, and I know it probably echoes what Councilman Ricks has said in the past. At some point, we've just gotta, stop, right? Our revenues aren't going up tremendously. We've been lucky over the past few years to have significant one-time revenue coming in from the state, whether it be capital or COVID funds or ARPA funds and things like that. We can't just keep going up every year, 6% here, 7% there, and expect to fill that gap with revenues that aren't increasing by 6-7% as well. So, that's just my general comment before we jump into the budget. I would be in favor, if we voted tonight, to just say, hey, let's keep the budget even for this year. I would be happy with that. I know that's not how it's gonna go, but that would make sense to me, because at some point, we can't just keep.
2026, just to clarify.
Yeah, I would say 2026, let's keep it at what we're projected for 25.
Projected for the year end, actual cost.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's certainly, and I share your sentiments completely. We can't spend money unless we have a revenue source coming in. We could say it 20 different ways, but it boils down to that. We can't run a deficit. We could, just so everybody knows, we've got a nice surplus that's been built up. And that can be budgeted by us. We could budget a deficit year. We have that authority.
And I think it should be.
But I don't think we should ever do it to fund ongoing operating expenses.
Correct.
That's a bad habit. There's a federal government that kind of does that right now, and we're all for the worse. You know, those would be for a conscious decision to make a one-time capital improvement. We could take money out of our general fund, put it in the capital fund, and spend it on a capital improvement. But we don't want to pay ongoing operating expenses. That's a disaster in the making.
Yeah. That's how the budget got it, that's how the state got in its position a few years ago when it did that,
And
yeah.
I do think we need to go through the line items, because there's some costs that are inescapable, like the Emperor's cost. If it goes up, it goes up.
What cost? Oh, retire,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Municipal retire, got it.
I learned the term, and I'm not even sure where it came from, or how they compute anything.
Sound like my daughter.
But I
You know what that
think, I
means?
think we need to look at it, because if nothing else, if there's an increase, a real increase that we can't escape,
Oh,
then we're making a conscious decision, either figure out a way to fund it, or we're gonna cut
Certainly.
from that department.
certainly.
And when you start cutting departments, it may not just fall on the department that had an increase they can't control. It maybe has to be spread throughout the city, citywide. There's lots of discussions. Kind of where I was going earlier, and we talked about a major department, the police department, but our 2025 total projected cost at the end of the year is I'm sorry, looking at line
Column 8.
35, 9,901,000.
Yep.
We projected expenses of 9,872,000. So we came in citywide, 70,000, give or take a little bit, under budget of expenses. Revenue,
Over budget?
yes, our budgeted expenses were over by a few $1,000s, our original budget.
30, right?
The original budget, column I, line 36. So we're close. I mean, that's significant money, but
Well, it's 30,000, yeah. It's
pretty good. Our budgeted revenue on line 20 came in a little over. I mean, our budgeted revenue was a little less than our actual revenue. So we're $4,500 currently projected,
surplus.
I'm sorry. We're actually, the fund balance, beginning of the year was 2,824,000. We're now projecting 2,855,000, is that? I'm having a hard time with the fine print, the older I get. But I mean, it's so close.
35.
35.
Okay, thank you. It's so close that we've spent the money, it's history. I think as a council, we ought to individually consider, because we're not voting tonight, that I could vote to amend that as it is. Besides the fact we can't do anything about it. It's within basis points percentages of a percent of the total budget. So our real work ahead of us is 2026. That's why I said I thought 2025 would probably be, amendment of 2025 would be an easy discussion.
Right.
And
I would agree. I think there's some additional that we can go through here and cut, which I do plan on doing. And we can discuss those tonight, or we can discuss them.
I'd like, if you've got concrete items, I'd like to hear them so we can
Oh,
all be
sure.
thinking about them, if you care to share them. I'm not sure what the other councilman's sentiment is, but
Well, some of it is adding and subtracting, right? So we, on line 133, we budgeted a parade expense of $10,000, and because we hadn't spent it this year, it was taken out. And I'd like to keep that in there, until we know we do not need it for the, any of the Christmas parade expense.
I'm not sure.
Or can we say we do not need it?
I don't know.
Since we're so close.
I mean, right now, say again, sir?
Portalets, the only thing we use.
Yeah. I'm not sure
And that might be
who
going in.
pays those expenses, so it's definitely worthy of a
Well,
discussion.
And I'm just saying that because I know the police has said before, like, it's not budgeted, right, in his budget, but we do have it here in the general budget or non-departmental budget. So perhaps if it's not budgeted in his budget, we take it, we leave it here and bill it to this department, right? So do we have any actual expenses known that are gonna be,
Everything so far has been comped. The portalets for the parade route, I think they comped those away.
Normally, we pay them,
Oh, do you?
we pay them. It's nothing, it's chump change.
But is it $1,000 in total miscellaneous?
No.
how do we pay for the officers that patrol? Because obviously it's more than just us as Harahan, right? There's other agencies that come. How do we,
Other agencies, we have 5 other agencies that's coming in to assist us.
and how do we pay them?
Well, we
Volunteer.
haven't, I've been asking to be volunteers, because if not, we had no money to pay. So they've been coming in great. I know that
Okay, well,
first year,
very generous and great.
the first year, I think, when, the last year of my predecessor, I think y'all paid the officers to come in and work.
For the memorial parade.
No, it was for the Christmas parade. Yeah, it was before I got it, it was my,
For the Christmas parade?
yeah.
Did it come
I
out
think
the
that was
police
his
department
last
budget?
round. He
Because
could-
the
he
parade
could-
was
yeah.
gonna be canceled. that
They were
year.
gonna cancel the parade because he was crying he
And I
couldn't get
think
the
that's where
officers.
the
And that's when we
money-
started funding this, because we had to come up with
So
this
who
because.
funded it,
And that's
Todd?
why we
Do you
put it here,
recall?
because we didn't want the police department spending it somewhere else.
Well, we had a
on
real
something else.
parade in here, the
Yeah.
quote,
But-
Harahan Mardi Gras
The
parade.
Memorial
Day
Parade.
parade.
Memorial Day, yeah.
Yeah,
That
that
we
was a
had
separate budget.
expenses.
We threw this in, I wanna say,
Todd's got some.
the last year, prior to this administration,
That's right.
because they couldn't get the officers to work. So we had to throw this in there so they had an incentive to try to get some of these outside agencies to come in and do it.
Now, I'm paying a few of the full-time guys part of overtime to come in and help the full-time guys to come in and work, because I need full-time guys in case something happens.
Off
I need
route.
them to be able
Yeah.
Yeah,
to,
still got to patrol our city.
you know, so.
Because one thing is, like you said, you're gonna have the city divided, so you're gonna have officers locked on this side, officers locked on that side.
Right, so I mean,
So what is the cost for 2 officers overtime?
for a full-time guy, it's like 40, well, it's almost like a detail.
For a day, I'm just-
$40 an hour, and 4 hours.
So we're talking
So you're gonna
$100 a person a parade,
Something like that, a person, but
like
the,
$150, $200 per person for the parade time.
So we took $1,500 out of that. That would help pay for the overtime officers that he needs to patrol the parade.
you know, when we've
But
been
to-
asked to come in.
Not to patrol the parade, to patrol the city.
When our officers go to other events,
They get paid.
they get paid by their other departments that are asking us to come in and help support them like grant.
And I'll say this right now, I mean, I think that's great to have this discussion right now, but I mean, I think that's even a better discussion for next year's parade.
Well, this year, I think we've got everything.
Yeah.
But we're talking 2026 at the moment, correct?
No, I'm talking 25.
Oh,
I'm talking 25.
Well-
And my thought for 25 is since we budgeted 10,000, if we took it completely out, why don't we leave $4,500 in there, which still keeps us on a balanced budget? And if we need to bill something to it, so rather than billing it to police, we bill it to the parade expense if it's parade related.
The portalets,
Portalets, overtime, whatever it might be.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just a thought. We're not gonna do it tonight because it's not for adoption tonight, but that's just a thought that's something I'm gonna ask that we do next week.
but we're talking the 2025 budget right now, correct?
Yes, sir.
The money hasn't been spent,
Right.
so it needs to come out, unless we've got obligations for
I'm
this
sorry.
Christmas. I hear you, Jason. If we don't have any obligations for this Christmas parade, the money needs to come out because we're not projecting it to be spent.
I guess the way I should have worded this was, rather than amending the budget to completely remove it, we would amend the budget to only remove
Like,
5,500 of it. Right?
I mean, it's
Yeah.
conservative.
Yeah.
And that leaves us the money to portalets, if you got a little bit of overtime,
So,
rent a side by side.
I mean, I'll leave it to you guys to estimate what that might be.
This year, have agreed to come in and
Right,
volunteer.
and maybe next year we could negotiate something on that end.
Well, we'll try to negotiate the donation again. Again, if somebody decides they're not gonna be able to do that anymore, just like the cameras, you know, you gotta make sure you can cover it. But I'm gonna continue to ask for the freebies, the donation.
So so Councilman Elsbell, I just want to make a note. You're proposing we reduce that by 5,500 down to 4,500.
Yes.
I'm just making a note.
Yep. That's it. That's all I got for tonight. I see the looks.
Oh, can you discuss, line 182? There's another parade expense that's 308, I don't know what that is.
What was that, Chief?
Line 182, there's another parade expense?
Oh, that's gotta be a miscoding. It's miscoding, yeah. We took it, and that was when it was originally coded to, originally the parade expense was coded, to the mayor's department, and so we put it in non-governmental so that it didn't hit his budget, and
That could have been the portalets.
this for this year.
Oh, for this year,
Billed
yeah.
308 this year.
Yeah, and it's projected for next year.
This was Halloween borderlands.
This was from last year. It got late. Bill got late.
That's it.
Anybody else?
Mr. Buddy, you wanna discuss 26 in detail by department?
I think, I mean, I flipped through the budget. I think the big money is, as you said earlier, the big increase that's putting us in a deficit is primarily the projected, if we go with the increase for the police department to what the chief is requesting.
Right.
So I think that's where the majority of our effort's going to be. I did want to say, and this is going to stir a little debate, rightfully so, that the sales tax revenue for the fire department has generated in excess of $1 million a year of what the original projection was. What the public and the council and departments thought was going to happen. It's a very pleasant windfall. Currently, the monies that haven't been spent, which are substantial from that sales tax, are dedicated to the fire department. Those monies had a balance at the end of 2025. Hold on, let me get to it. Let me get to the right page here.
Page 23.
Thank you. The fund balance at the beginning of the year, beginning of 2025 was $2,407,000. It's now projected at the end of the year to be $3,319,000, a growth of, what, $900,000. Again, it's been a windfall. What has happened is, not reflected there, the fire department's budget reflects pulling out $1 million plus, I believe, from those sales tax revenues, with the excess going into a fund, which is rolling forward, because it's a separate fund for the fire department. This year, I'm sorry, in 2026, the projected budget in column O on line 813, at the end of projected year, if this budget holds true, that $3,000,003 is going to grow by $854,000. At the end of 2026, with this budget, we're projecting that that fund will have $4 million in it. It's not a bad thing. It's growing. Fire department is going to have needs in the future, capital needs, the next fire truck. Now, we do have 2 new fire trucks, and there'll be a discussion as to whether we need a third new one now or a third new one in 18 years.
No.
Well, there'll be a discussion. I appreciate, Jason, I knew this was going to be
Yep.
subject to a lively debate. But my point is, and another flip is, the city prior to the sales tax revenue coming in, I believe from the general fund, fire department was being funded, I think, to the tune of about $900,000 from the general fund, and in addition to the 500 or so thousand from the sales tax and some other money, that made up the fire department's budget. This current year, I think we're projecting that we're only going to fund from the general fund some, what is it? I'm not sure if I've got the number here, but it's substantially less than the $900,000.
Right.
So the city has diverted
It's gonna be roughly around.
what was previously general revenue fund going to the fire department to other departments. And I think personally that's the right thing to do, because the fire department is in the best shape we could have ever envisioned. It's better than we ever hoped for, as a result of the fact that we're getting in close to 300% of what we projected in terms of revenue from that sales tax fund. It's fairly steady over the last 3 years. So one of the things I want to bring up for this concept, not even discuss it to whoever would like to, I'd like to consider taking I think it's $388,000 that is currently projected in the 26 budget from general revenue to the fire department. I'd like us to consider bringing that number down to 0, making the fire department completely self-funding, and it would still grow at the end of the year. That $3,003,000 in the fund would become $3,008,000. So that fund's still growing, and it will continue growing in future years. At some point in time, that may turn around, and it may start being depleted. Capital equipment, other expenses of the fire department. But I think the fire department, as a result of the, I'm going to say, windfall of revenue over we all envisioned, citizens are paying for it, I think the fire department's in an enviable position of being self-funded with a growing fund balance. So I will probably, I mean, I want to crunch the numbers, and I want to sit down with Todd and make sure I have a good grip on it. I will more than likely be suggesting that we make that change, remove 388,000, or whatever the number works out to be, from general funding to the fire department. Replace it with money out of the sales tax fund. And if we did that, the sales tax fund would still grow by over 500,000, and it would end up in excess of $3.8 million at the end of '26. And it would be projected to grow in '27, '28, and sometime into the future. And I know that's going to stir a lot of debate. But, so anyway, I wanted to put that on the table. Now,
think
what
it's a
would
great
propo-
discussion.
What I would propose with that money, and I will fine tune this between now and next week, I would propose that the majority of that money go to the police department. Because I think we're gonna find that they need some of that 700,000. Certain, I'm assuming that, otherwise we won't do it. But I'd like to take some of that 388,000, which is now general revenue fund, and use maybe 288,000 for the police department to get them to a balanced budget, and to use 100,000 of it and have a general fund contribution to a capital fund for equipment for the police department, for future councils to be able to use for police cars. That money would only be spent on equipment in a capital fund. It wouldn't be used for operating, and I would hope that future councils would continue that, similar to what we do with our video poker money. We as a council well, not us, but prior to us, they allocated that to the capital fund, and now it's in excess of 400,000 a year. That's basically what we have in this city to repair streets. Before we were successful in getting the mayor and the council, getting all the money from the state for improvements, that was the fund to repair street, to repair the sewer, to do these things. So I'd like to think we could start that fund for the police department. If the chief and his and folks who follow him are able to get the state to fund police cars, we never have to buy a police car, the money's in the capital fund. The next council, the council after that can reallocate it as they see fit. But we'll be building up that fund Councilman Asbill was talking about. So it's a concept of bringing the fire department to self-funding. And I think they'll be quite adequately funded. That's my opinion. There will be differences of opinion, I know that. And this will allow us to plug a big portion of any deficit that may shake out in the police department. A real deficit, so we're not cutting personnel. And hopefully get back to a staffing level if we're able to hire the personnel. And if we can't hire personnel at the salaries we're paying now, even though we increased them not that long ago because of competition at other departments, we may have increased salaries just to maintain what we have. So looking at the real possibility of increases in the police department, I think is realistic.
And that's my biggest concern with any of these departments receiving more money allocated to their budget, because although we do it as a line item budget, really, if we allocate $300,000 more to the police department, and you could, not saying you will, you could, Tim Walker surely did, send the $300,000 anywhere else in his budget other than what the council intended it for.
Well, and I agree with you 100%, and it was a problem.
Yeah.
And it was a problem with police chiefs before Tim Walker.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
The reality is.
It's a problem with every mayor.
The mayor
right?
gets to do it too.
It's a problem with every mayor.
All we can do is budget the money, and we trust governmental employees to do the right thing. So, yeah, you're 100% correct. As a council, we get frustrated at times because our authority is very limited. We can budget money, but we can't control how it's spent
Yeah,
by law.
so, and I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but my point in saying that was, well, why don't we see if we can actually get to the budget that we've already got? And then if he needs more, we add more, right? Or if mayor
Well,
needs more, we add more,
if-
mid-year.
If we budget a surplus so that money's available if we need it during a year, I think, I'm fine with that. But it's got to be available in the surplus
Right.
for us to do that. Otherwise, we're looking at going into our surplus, accumulated surplus, to pay operating expenses.
Yeah.
So, but I would only suggest that if we increase police department budget, as a council, if we vote to increase it, it'll be after it's scrubbed, and there's a majority of members who believe an increased amount over last year's actual is appropriate. There'll be a number that we can generally get our arms around. Again, it'll be debatable, but as a council, that's our job.
Just so we're on the same page, fire department's gonna need some of this capital, like this money to have. We hopefully get ready to break ground on a new fire station within the next 6 months?
Hopefully.
Hopefully we break ground on a new fire station next 6 months. We possibly gonna need some of this here when we get that new fire station. We're gonna try to put newer equipment in there instead of taking old equipment and try to stash in there.
Yeah, furnish
and
the
then
fire station.
Furnish
And I
it
agree with you.
appropriate. So we gotta be careful with that too, but in the same note, I agree.
Well, we had that
need to look at this,
we
and I
had that
think this is a great
conversation
conversation.
also with money already in the capital fund, the insurance proceeds. There's a significant amount of insurance proceeds, and not long ago, we discussed that. And the comment was made that we're probably gonna need to add to the FEMA settlement.
Yep.
So, yeah, but that's another thing we're gonna have to use some discipline on. That's gonna be, I'm not sure if y'all have any, if anybody has any estimates, I don't want to say y'all, but I'm a guess that's gonna be a $6 or $7 million fire station.
At least, yeah.
And then we sitting here talking about, a fire truck. Do I think we need a new fire truck next year? No, I'm not a fireman, I'm not over there working at the fire station, but I mean, that's the discussion we need to have with the fire chief. I believe within the next 2 to 3 years, we're probably gonna need
Why
another
would,
fire truck.
this is a good discussion. We have a truck that's 2 years old, we have a truck that's 1 year old. The discussion was always, they're good for 20 years. And then you gotta get rid of them.
And we also have a truck that's also 20 years old right now as well.
What truck is that?
The squad truck.
And we have one that's borrowed.
Well, but we don't, how many, that's another discussion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I don't know the
How
fire
many,
department,
how
how they
many,
work that, but.
I mean, I think in terms of equipment, the city is in a much improved fire department. The city's
Agreed.
in a much improved position than we were 5 years ago.
100%
In the
agree.
same note, if you do get another truck, guess what? Then you got a truck 3 years old, 2 years old, 1 year old again. So then you might go another 15 years, 14 years.
Right, and this
So you're gonna
fund
hit that
is-
point to where
Yeah.
the fund's gonna build up more.
Yeah, right, the fund would continue to build. I'm saying that if, I'm not completely, I wasn't necessarily aware of the fact that we need a third new truck. I'm open to listen.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we need it
Well,
now.
we
We
may.
might need it in 2 years.
Right.
I'm just saying, we can't just think
But
this is all
we
cush
just
cush.
We just paid, what, $1.5 million for a ladder truck that's 2 years old. We paid $1 million, or a little bit over $1 million, I think, for the, I'm gonna call it standard truck. The next truck, if we bought it in 2 years, would not even, I don't think it would be as expensive.
I have no clue.
The SWAT truck we're going. But not what does Harahan want for its fire department, but what's a reasonable need? I'd like to see a fully staffed 5 people on the street.
I want a DFR in Harahan. We don't need that. The sheriff's got us covered.
Yeah.
Right? The drone is a first responder. I want the drone as a response. I want 2 of them in Harahan to deploy.
Right, but,
Well, we don't need that because the sheriff's office
Right.
has coverage there, right?
yeah, but so it boils down to what we agree.
We all on the same page.
We can
We just
live
gotta
with.
justify where we need to be.
But I just think that when I look at the potential for having $4 million in a capital fund for the fire department at the end of this year, growing after the, let's say, radical change I brought up for discussion, and then and growing at the rate of 400 or 500,000 a year going into the future, that's a really marvelous, wonderful position that the fire department's in. I'm happy.
Oh, I'd love to be in the fire department,
But
so
I
be
think,
self-sustained.
I think we could move some money and still maintain that wonderful, marvelous position. The fact is, there was a windfall, unexpected, in the sales tax revenue. So, you know, I know the fire department would like to have more personnel. We probably got twice as many personnel as we had 3, 4 years ago. And more personnel would be good. I think doubling, if it was double, the fire department personnel is wonderful. I'd like to see the police department double from where we were 4 years ago. I don't think we can get there.
Right.
But I'd like to see that, because firemen are important, vastly important. Policemen affect more people on a daily basis. When you have a fire, it's a big freaking deal. But we're not, as a city, in a position to do for the police department what the sales tax has done for the fire department. And that's just one person's opinion, and I know this will be debated and discussed, and there are various opinions.
That's up to him. It's a political session that he needs to start.
The repeal or replace on the millage?
Do you want to discuss it? Do you want to bring it up as a concept tonight, or do you want to hold until we know more?
Well, I think there's the city, the attorney sent us a schedule.
Yeah.
of what have
When we
to
can
do.
put it on the ballot.
Put
So-
it on the ballot, fine,
So in the next year,
That
you,
is-
you mind if I?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So in the next year, you know, the 5 mills for the police department has to be renewed. Right? And so the chief wants to do it early on the election, and the bond council sent us the election schedule. We can get on the first election. That way, if there's an issue, it can go to the second election as well if we need it. And one of the ideas that's floated, similar to what Third District did and passed a couple of elections ago, is a repeal and replace type millage, where in lieu of a 5 mil, you vote on a 7 mil to bring in a different millage. And if the 7 mil doesn't pass on the first election, then you know what the citizens' wish is, and you come back and just ask them to renew the 5 mills. And so that would bring in additional revenue for the police department as well.
So 2 mills would bring in what? $200,000.
$200,000-300,000, yeah.
And it'd be wonderful if it happened. And everything can be rethought
Right.
if that happens, as
And,
we should.
and I say 7, nobody's been settled on
Right.
7, we
Yeah,
haven't,
it
If
could be
we-
8.
it could be 8, it could be
Right.
20,
But
right?
We
don't wanna be
we want it to-
greedy.
Yeah, we
We
want
wanna
it to pass.
compensate.
Please don't make it
That's already
20.
over.
I think that's a great idea, as long as we have a chance to go back for 5, and I know that's the current plan
Yeah.
that's being put into play. I think that's very wise.
So that's something we've been working on for a
But,
minute.
and again, at that point in time, as a council, you stop and say, if we passed a budget for the fire department, and if it had a $300,000 increase, because we all agreed it was necessary, and then a $200,000 millage increase passed that we would get in 27?
Yeah.
End of December of 27.
The millage expires the end of 27, December of
Correct.
27
Correct.
it expires.
So
So-
we know that would be the budget for
Right,
that.
but that doesn't mean, as a council, we're obligated now to put that 200,000 over the then budgeted number. That means that that's 200,000 that's going to the police department, and if there's not a justification for spending 200,000 more, then it goes back, the general revenue reduces what they contribute. Same thing that happened to the fire department that I'm proposing. Well, actually, the same thing that's already happened to the fire department.
Over the course of a few years, yeah,
Yes, sir.
it's been
Yes, sir.
reduced by
So,
$500,000.
yeah, I'm hoping, listen, I think that's wonderful, and again, I would suggest that we put together an information flyer so the citizens know, really, Chief, where you're coming from, the needs of the fire department, what happens if it doesn't pass.
I hate to even think of what it would have.
So we can't pay money, or we can't even promote the passage of a millage. All we can do is advertise facts. And again, there's been a lot of thought into this, and I haven't been a party to it, and thank y'all for doing it. But I think if we advertise some hard facts, that if the city were to lose the 7%, or if they were to lose the existing 5%, what happens to the police department?
If you lose the existing 5%, you're losing $500,000 to the police
We'd have
department.
to call the sheriff.
Well, you're losing over 5 budgeted positions, well over 5 budgeted positions, in average.
At that point, call the sheriff.
Yeah.
And sort of a comment that was made earlier. We have extremely limited revenue. Chief, you've got your fire department staff. I've never had a detailed conversation about you, the mix between patrolmen and total staff. I mean, it may come down to some hard decisions. We may not be able to fund the program that you think is optimal, or even suboptimal. So there may be a decision that you need to make, that I need to move administrative positions, which I know you can justify every one of them, but you might need to make a decision to eliminate an administrative position, whatever we need to do if it's civil service, and allocate that to patrolmen. Or allocate it to pay raises for patrolmen so we can compete. I mean, there's a lot on the table right now. So I'm gonna request that, that Chief and the Todd, that we meet early next week. We'll get our schedules out before we leave, and I'll invite a councilman to join us. And again, if 2 other councilmen want to participate, no, I'm saying if 2 others want to, I'll be happy to back out. I mean, this is not a, I've got to be there. I think,
everybody can,
yeah. But I mean, we can't all meet with Todd and Kathleen and Joe if he meets.
Right.
We can't do it at one time. We all know our hands are
Right.
tied there.
Right. That's why we
But,
have separate meetings.
So I'll be happy for an interested councilman to join us. I'm gonna propose a meeting this afternoon, before we leave, for earliest next week, we can get our schedules together. A 2, 3, 4-hour meeting. And, you know, we have to look at the overall budget, but the emphasis is on the police department. That's where the big bucks are.
Right.
I'm also gonna say, I think we're budgeting the same revenue for court for currently budgeting for 2026 as we received in 2025.
I don't think we can count on that. That's what we've done the past few years, and it's gone down every year.
Well, one of the things that the chief is working on is to try to increase traffic enforcement. So I think we can, I'd be comfortable with projecting increase. Chief, did you tell me that we've written 258 tickets month to
One
date?
officer wrote 229 tickets this month by himself.
So that won't continue, but it,
So the rest of them working?
yeah,
What's that?
well,
For the rest of them working?
No, there's some others that are doing the work, but we can,
I'm being silly.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's a serious question,
Well-
why all our officers are not enforcing the law to the greatest extent possible.
you can't give them a quota.
I'm not asking for a
Right,
quota.
right.
I'm asking officers to do their job, and I'll say it, I'll go talk to the officers and ask them to do their job directly if you want me to.
I-
I'm asking officers to do their job.
I think the issue is that conversation's been had, and we're where we are. So I sent out,
At some point, it's gotta become insubordinate, right?
Harahan's
No.
got law-abiding citizens. They don't-
Harahan does,
they
but
don't
our
speed.
visitors don't,
Our
but
citizens don't speed.
our visitors don't
our
always abide the
visitors,
law.
on the other hand, speed at will. No, I think I sent out a informational memo. I know we can't discuss it to you guys. I'm putting forth a proposed ordinance for approval at our next, not this coming December council meeting, but January, to purchase a speed camera similar to the informational cameras that are firmly fixed, thanks to Councilman Johnson, on Jefferson Highway. But it records data, time and date and speed. And with that, I think the chief will be able to have more than, I don't think you're doing your job. You didn't do your job. I think he will have, as we all know, civil service decisions, favorable civil service decisions by the police department are few and very hard to come by. In fact, I don't know that we won one since I've been a councilman. So we need to make sure if there is any discipline, that it's supported. And that, so this is all part of a plan to go about it in a way that we can entice people to do their job. Just enforce traffic laws.
Well, I will say, the police have been writing tickets on Colonial Club Drive, and I will say, there's still a lot of speeders,
Yep.
but the police out there writing tickets.
So, we've all been here for many years. When Chief LaPrey was running the Reserve Division and John Doyle was the chief, we probably wrote 600 tickets a month. And we still had speeders. We didn't have as many. Because Harahan had a reputation that you don't speed in Harahan. So eventually, the number of people speeding will slow down because we'll get a reputation for enforcing traffic laws. If we can encourage our officers to enforce traffic laws. But the chief's made a commitment to the best of his ability to increase the number of violations, and we probably averaged 100 a month. And we're gonna see that increase substantially in the next few months. The trick will be to maintain that. So I think that money is available. What the council would decide, if we amend the budget, what the council decides to do with that money is the council's decision.
I'd be interested to see ticket data over the past few years on a month-by-month basis, because I think in the past, it's always increased at the end of the year.
It may have, Jason, I don't recall that.
You know, for whatever reason, it's always, November, December, we're always saying, well, ticket writing's up, let's project more revenue, and then it,
And I'm gonna put to you,
Wanes off.
if we take that revenue and we will use it to fill part of the hole in the police department, and it doesn't materialize, it's an obligation we have with current numbers to reduce the police department budget. And that's not a threat, that would just be a fact.
right.
If
No, I
the
agree.
revenue doesn't come in, we need to make a cut, and wherever that money is directed, it's not coming in, we
I
back
agree,
it
it's just never been done. And it's just,
No, it
it's
re-
always just.
Yes,
getting
sir,
higher
I
and
agree
higher
with
and
you.
higher and higher, and
I agree with you.
That's the frustration that I expressed when we started this discussion
out.
is.
We've been
Just-
assuming that number was gonna increase, I think, for the last 7 years.
Yep.
And it has not. If it has increased, it's been extremely marginal. And traffic throughout the city is worse everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but the chief is committed, and if we can give him the tool, at least a tool, to help encourage his officers to just enforce the law, we'll see better traffic control. We should see better revenue. Anyway, those are my comments. So I'm gonna be focusing in the next few days, work days, on the police department. We'll be sharing any comments with the council, not for discussion, but for informational purposes. I'm sure other councilmen will be doing the same thing.
Yeah, should we open public hearing before we?
Do we have to open public hearing at council meeting?
We can.
Doesn't
I mean,
hurt,
Don't hurt.
But you,
doesn't hurt.
all right.
Nobody's gonna stand.
All right, so
There's people here.
Can
What?
come in.
Who's coming?
Technically, we need to open the public hearing.
Yeah.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Move second.
Okay, we have a motion by Channel Lane to adjourn, and second by
No, I'm
Councilman
having
Bill.
fun, man, I don't wanna join yet.
Wake up.
Come on, all in favor?
Too much fun.
I'm about to tell
Yay.
Mr. Buddy, I'm about to tell Mr.